Greetings everybody, and welcome back to another episode of map making, where we make an adventure map. So we're in this very empty space, and all we have is this bedrock block. And this actually marks the center point for our next area. So rather than showing a little bit of actual working on it, how about I just go straight into the replay mod and show some crazy stuff that we do. Okay, so I've been working quite a bit on this, as you saw in all of the videos, and I've got quite a bit done. So we can see all of these different terrains, all created with sand. And sand is a very good landscaping block because it automatically falls. And we can see that it doesn't create weird spheres everywhere that we have to smooth manually. It kind of automatically smooth. We can see some like that big sphere, but for the most part, they get masked pretty well. One of these things I'm doing here is running at falling blocks and then setting their motion to -10. So basically they instantly snap down rather than slowly fall, and that actually has helped with performance quite a bit while doing this, so it's making it faster. But I want to show just a little bit of the process. This will not work in vanilla. This is strictly world edit. But we need a brush, and then we want sphere, and of course sand, and then the size of it, which I think is 6 is the biggest. And we're just doing biggest because that's working out best so far. So the idea of this area is that it's going to be kind of like a maze, and the sand we're going to eventually turn into probably sandstone. This is going to be a desert area, but it's going to be a very sand deserty, and we want it to be hard to navigate through. Like you can't go through the wall, but it's easier to go around them. So now we can see this, and it's kind of cool the way it looks when it's teleporting down. And it's not too hard to work with, really. So I'm going to create a big wall here that is going to block you from the very far outside. This will be later content. But when you're doing this, you just hold right click, and it's as simple as that. I should also, while I'm here, mask air. So that means it only replaces air. It's helpful if you don't want to delete the blocks way far below. But you can see just in a few seconds, this looks pretty good. Another tool we like to use, let's just grab an iron sword for this, is another brush, but it's going to be a cylinder, and let's set it to 5. This is 5 by 1. See, it's just slowly raising up areas. So this is kind of like a smoothing tool, and it helps quite a bit with how things look. If you want a harsher one, let's get a diamond sword for this. Let's do 5 by 3 maybe, and then it'll be a little bit harsher. Doesn't look as good necessarily, but if you're filling in larger areas, then it works pretty well. But I think this looks pretty decent for this area. Probably need to add a little bit more here to smooth it out. So now let's break this off here so that players cannot get through. It's almost guided in a sense. It will break off eventually, but I want the first little bit of it to be pretty guided, so if there's a certain enemy that's new, then they have time to understand it in a situation that's not as threatening, and we kind of force the players to understand that enemy without having to be thrown into a situation as bad. So this is just going to be a pretty simple thing to do. So far this is pretty navigated. I kind of want it to split off here, and you can either keep going around this way, kind of going through the spiral. This is going to be kind of the deciding point, so you can either go on the outside layer, or you can keep going on the inside layer. So let's continue finishing up this wall. And so what's nice about terraforming with world edit is that you don't really care how much it looks right off the bat. You want the structure, the general functionality of it to be pretty intact, but general look of it doesn't matter. You want the basics, of course, you want it to have a very general look of it, but you don't want it to be exactly what you want it to look like. So if there's little errors, you can always fix those later. For example, this wall is now done. The application for it is now done. And there's might be little things here and there that don't look, so maybe this little spot here doesn't look that great, so we can just fill it in and go in with a different brush later that will make it look better. And maybe we think this needs to be built up more. But when you are down here, you get a huge sense of scale. You're just running through this area trying to see how it feels. It's always very important to walk in the way that's intended to walk. So don't always just look up in the sky and say that looks good, but also run around down here where the player is going to be walking, so that you can say if they see anything, then you can get rid of it, but it doesn't look anything too crazy. Okay, so let's go off this anchor point. This is pretty good. So I'm almost thinking this should end over here. So this is like a little secret area that you can get to. We can have punch a hole, so like a shortcut to a different area. So maybe there's a more difficult area in terms of fighting, but then there's more difficult area in terms of parkour. Probably not parkour. I don't want to do too much parkour. So maybe it's just like a little gate or something that you have to do, talk to somebody about, or basically anything but fighting. And what's nice is that you see the round spheres that we've been drawing this entire time. You can see them up here, but when you're down here, they don't really stick out that much. So you don't have to worry about them as much as you might think. And we'll have to have a way to prevent the player from getting too high, because if they do get too high, then they could just, you know, pillow over these, and that's not really intended either. So we gotta think of a creative way to do that. I've got one in mind, but I don't know how much I can use it for each of these areas. And then over here, we can do quite a bit over here because of this. Did we seal this off from before? No, the player could go all the way around here. So we could either seal this off, or we could actually tie that back into here and maybe have a route for speedrunners that's a lot more difficult, but a lot more rewarding. I don't think this map will be speedrun that much, but I do kind of want it to be a possibility because I think not enough maps have that in mind ever. So I kind of want maybe a big town area. I say big, it can't be huge, but it can be just a few houses. I'm thinking a very narrow squeeze here that's going to be heavily guarded. You can't just squeeze, like run around. You'd have to be smart in how you get through. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work really well. And then over here, this could just open up, and one of these paths can kind of seal off this way. And then there can be something special here. Maybe this is an extra item that's powerful that they could find, or it could be the item that they need to find before they leave. Because this is going to be kind of CTM, they have to find items. That's why they're in each area. I'm wondering if I should make an option to be able to leave an area. That would be pretty interesting. Okay, so this leaves a huge area for different structures here, and yeah, I think that'll work out really well. And I do like these rolling hills everywhere. There's some spheres left behind that we can smooth out. Anything that's a sphere is obvious. You can tell the tools that they use to make the area, but if it's smoothed out, then it's not as obvious and it just looks nice. So right here is a little bumpy, not terrible though. That's a very obvious sphere. So you just have to go around the entire place doing this. That's pretty good. I don't see too many other spheres. I guess there's a couple in the ground there. Don't want the shapes to be too regular. Nice. Okay. We gotta update this sand so it falls. Yeah, this is looking pretty nice, I think. I guess this is a low point. They might be able to... Well, that would be kind of cool if they could be able to be this high, but not this high or so. So maybe that's another shortcut that speedrunners could use. Smooth that out just a little bit. So terraforming is just a labor of love. It takes a long time to do, and you have to really enjoy it. But if you do it, haha, I said do, then it creates such a better environment and makes your map stand out so much more because it's really unique. Anybody can just load up a world with vanilla terrain, but it takes a lot more effort to... This is way too tall. It takes a lot more effort to create something that you've basically built from the ground up. So let's fill this all in real quick. Then I'm probably gonna be about done for today. Wow, that's looking pretty nice. We can always change this later too. That's another thing. Maybe a certain area doesn't look too great. Well, we can just come back later and fix it. But I think we can say that this is for the most part complete, the terrain at least. I like how this is coming together. I think it looks pretty nice. So now let's pick a block to fill all of this in with. I'm thinking sandstone, but it doesn't matter too much. Get an axe, and it's the easiest way of doing this. Probably like this. So fly way up in one corner. And this is going to be dangerous because it's going to fill in thousands and probably millions of blocks. I try not to do these operations too often, but they're also really fun to do. So gotta find the good balance. Yeah, so that's what, 50 million blocks? That's not too many. So now we can just do a replace sand with sandstone, and if my computer doesn't crash, then we will see. You can feel it, that's for sure. And I think I just did that the wrong way, actually. Yeah, it should have been sandstone. Oh, nope. It was just slow. Oh my goodness. And now we're going to be lagging a little bit because of the RAM is going to be hurting for certain. So yeah, this looks pretty nice. I think this looks... I hate to say it though, but I want to replace it with the smooth sandstone. And I still can. That didn't crash or anything. So let's try that. And we'll see everything change just in a few seconds. Probably dropping a lot of frames here. Oh, and there's probably a crash. Oh, it survived. And now all of a sudden these are all just going to change. It's a lot of RAM and CPU usage. Hopefully I don't crash. Got all of that done. We can see the smooth sandstone texture now. Of course we're going to have a texture pack, so we're going to change this anyways, but we don't want the functionality of the normal sand, so that's why we changed it. And it looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Let's see if... So before I crash my game, I better save and quit. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day.